Thank you for joining us here in the virtual clubhouse. We are so grateful that you can come together through this platform where we are all safe. Please let us know you're here by watching and commenting on the post. I'm Tracey Whiting, program staff with Gilda's Club. And today we have with us Ann Ashley, a 12-year-old cancer survivor, and Ernestine Talbert, registered nurse with oncology, a retired registered nurse with oncology, and will be a 10-year breast cancer survivor. So, welcome, ladies.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, today we're going to talk about some commonalities in the breast cancer, and in cancers in the African American community. So, Anne, let's start with you. Tell us your breast cancer journey.
Well, I'd like to say good afternoon. My name is Ann Ashley. I'm a 12-year cancer survivor. My story begins really different because I was ashamed. I didn't want to talk to anyone. So my sister got in touch with the director at that time, which was Alan, and she talked with her and then she tried to talk with me. Well, with me, I thought cancer was very private and it
Mm-hmm.
wasn't, and especially my breast.
Mm-hmm.
So she had to really talk with me. So finally, I decided to go to a meeting. And at the meeting, I was very quiet, which I'm not normally not. And I listened to others. And then it was my turn. And when it became my turn, things turned all the way around. I told my story, and they listened like I was the president's wife of the United States. And as I began to tell them, I watched their faces. I'm a person that watches,
Mm-hmm.
and they teared up like I teared up. And when I told my story and how I went to the doctor and they found my cancer, and this is the thing, I was in denial,
Mm-hmm.
complete denial. When they called me to talk to me about an appointment, I just told them, I said, uh, why are you calling me? And the lady over the phone was very kind. She said, well, are you Hester Ashley? I said, I am. She said, are you aware that you have cancer and you it has to be removed? And then I said, oh, that's right. Yeah. So with me, by going to Gilda's, I was able to get to the point I'm at now. I'm not going to tell you that I still don't cry about my journey and think back on it. But
Mm-hmm.
at the same token, I know that I get support. I know that I am loved there. And you know what? I know that whatever I say, it's not going to go anywhere else.
Mm-hmm.
We have a director now, which is Tracey Whiting, and she's taking a whole different spin on things. You know, not just because she's younger, has different ideals, but because she has a compassionate heart. And I'm telling you, if you need some help and you want it right away, Gilda's is the place to go because they're going to help you. You know, I'm going to tell you something. The way the world is now, you got to be sure who you're talking to. We
Mm-hmm.
have we have nurses there. We have people that you know are acknowledgeable and they're going to help you. And they're going to talk way over your head and you can even say to them, I don't know what that means.
Mm-hmm.
And they'll stop and they'll explain it. And you know what? I'm just glad I'm a part of Gilda's. I really am. And I think they're life changing for other people that are going through cancer. And then there's other parts of Gilda's. It's just not the breast cancer. You know, there's lung cancer, every cancer you can think of. They're willing to deal with you. And I don't know if Tracy's gonna allow me to talk about my deceased husband, but I would like to touch that as about African American men at some point. I would
Okay,
like to get my
I would be glad for you to touch on that, but we're going to let Ernestine tell us, what brings her to Gilda's Club and give a little background, and then we'll come back, okay?
okay.
Thank you, Tracy. Like Tracy has said, yeah, I am This year, 11/11, November 11th, will be 10 years of breast cancer survivor. But as she also stated that I am a retired oncology nurse for over 35 years. And my career was working with cancer patients from the beginning until the end. I work with all types of cancer: breast, lungs, colorectal, pancreatic. So I work with a lot of cancers. And with me having no history of cancer in my family, I was dutiful. I took my breast exams and mammograms, and I did my breast exam monthly. I did that. And when I began to feel tenderness in my breast, 2 years before I was diagnosed, I was diagnosed with fibrocystic breast, and they had put a marking in this breast. And so when I began to feel tenderness, and you've heard that nurses and doctors like to diagnose themselves. So I said, oh, it just fibrocystic. But I know it was the Holy Spirit speaking to me and saying, you know better than that. You need to have it checked out. So
Mhm.
I did. On November the 7th, I was in for a biopsy. I was had changed to school nursing. I became a school nurse after my career as an oncology nurse. So I went to school that Monday all week, and that Thursday I got a call from one of the nurses that I worked with all of my career, and
Mhm.
she said, Ernestine, the doctor wants to see you in her office with your husband on tomorrow morning. Your results are back. And I said, I called her name and I said, what is it? And nurses sometimes kind of, well, we can't tell you. The doctor have to tell you. And I said, I called her name and I said, no, you tell me now, is it cancer? And she said, Ernestine, they called me Ernie. Ernie, it appears to be.
Mhm.
So when I was in that office on 11/11/11, the doctor told me that I had right aggressive, invasive, triple negative lobular breast cancer. And I didn't hear anything else. You
Mhm.
know, um, it is totally different when the shoe is on the other foot.
Mhm.
And it was so helpful that I had my husband, I had my daughters on a conference call on the line from North Carolina and Detroit. So they heard everything. So that's why it's very important to have someone in with you when you go into your doctor's office, or either they tell you the news, because they can bring back stuff. And so it is just so important. As with a Gilders Club, I was associated with Gilders Club years before I was diagnosed. Nancy Dudley, Ellen Atkins, and Mary Grandison, they had the sister program. And I would come every year. They had the team summit. I would teach the students on how to examine their breasts. I would bring a breast model with lumps. They could feel the lump. But God always prepares you for a time. It's this. And so he was preparing me all of that time for what I was to come. And Gilda's Club, as Ann said, has been there. You can cry, you can talk
Mhm.
about whatever you want to, and you don't have to feel looked down or belittled, because you know that people there are people who have been where you have been of
Mhm.
trying to go. And they assist you, they cry with you. And the main thing I just really love, the Bible said, put him first. We always start our meetings with prayer, and we know that prayer changes things. And just having someone there to listen, be supportive, to be there to answer your question, it is a life changer.
Thank you, Ernestine. And what Ernestine and Anne are talking about is Sister to Sisters. Sister to Sisters is a breast cancer support group for women of color. Originally started out for women of color, but all women are welcome, where we get together and we discuss some of the complications, some of the joys, some of the pains of cancer, breast cancer. As with all groups at Gilda's Club, we have a vast amount of groups at the clubhouse to address and identify, to address number one, the emotional aspect of a cancer or a grief journey. And we also have different workshops. Ernestine, just what are some more common cancers among the African American community?
Okay. As stated, being a nurse, I work with many, but the CDC has announced and states that the most common cancer in the African American community with females and women are breast and as we know, lung cancer,
Mhm,
and
mhm.
also colorectal or colon cancer is becoming common, especially in the male, along with um, lung cancer. Those are the main ones that we see in the African American community.
Okay, thank you. And you were saying that I know your husband John, and he had lung cancer. Could you sort of give us, you know, a short story on how that went?
Well, after I had breast cancer, 2 months later, John was diagnosed with lung cancer. Now, what really was wonderful, John was able to come out to Gilda's too.
Mm-hmm.
But John is not like me, not as open. And this is what I really want to get across. African American men do not go to the doctor. Somehow or another, our voices are going to have to be heard throughout the community as well as the world. Please go to the doctor, get a checkup. John was very intelligent, but if John would have gone to the doctor and got diagnosed earlier, he wouldn't have been in stage 4. Well, this is what's so important. When you're married and you have a spouse, you need to listen to each other, especially about illnesses, because being sick starts off small and then it becomes this huge gorilla on your back.
Mm-hmm.
But somehow or another, John and I, for 7 years, he had lung cancer. Well, 6 years, he had lung cancer, and then it went to his brain. And when he developed brain cancer, because of prayer, and I put it on prayer, he was able to still be cognitive. Well, I'm going to tell you, that's not normal. But God, in all his wonderful power, took care of that. And on John's journey, I learned so much. There's so many things I did not know about cancer. It's like a mean person coming in your life and just totally destroying it. John and I were married 36 years to the same man, and our life totally changed. And if you don't hear anything else I say, please go to your appointments, get your checkups, check on yourself, love on yourself, have enough respect to love yourself, to take care of yourself. And
Mm-hmm.
that's my message to the world.
Oh,
And that's my story. And I'm sticking to it.
thank you so much. What challenges do African Americans have when they are faced with a diagnosis? I know a lot of times you go to the doctor and they're speaking this language that you just don't understand. So that goes along with you, Ernestine, and what you're saying, take someone with you. So jargon is a challenge in when you're going to the doctor and getting a diagnosis and things like that, right?
Yes, very much, Tracy. Yes, I have taken it upon myself to be an advocate for women, just men and people. If they ask me to explain to them or go along with them to the doctor's office. I have been in the doctor's office with patient new diagnosis with breast cancer, colon cancer, lung cancer. And sometimes medical personnel talk to you like they are talking to another person, but and knowledge is powerful, and
Mhm.
fear of the unknown can really have you all twisted up. So just knowing the jargon of the medical world will put you at ease. They can say, oh, we're going to have a um, um, have you have a appendectomy. Appy what? And only it is to take out your appendix. Most people know what
Mhm.
appendicitis and appendix are. So, and I tell them to ask the
Mhm.
doctor to get it on your language, come down to your world, because you can't understand all of that jargon. And also, don't feel as though your question is stupid. If it's important, I tell them all the time, if it's important to you, it should be important to that medical provider.
Mhm.
If they don't act as though this is important to you, you need to get a second opinion or either let them go, because your concern should be their number one concern also. And always let them know how you're feeling, and also know your body first of all. Our Grand Rapids Black nurses always state the body you save may be your own. So you have to know your body in order to advocate for yourself, because you are the one that has to live with this body. They don't. So just advocate for yourself and just asking questions, and never feel that it's stupid, or
Mhm.
they wouldn't know what I'm talking about. Yeah, advocate for yourself.
Okay, thank you. So we know that advocating for ourselves, taking someone with us, and someone who understands the jargon that is spoken in the medical field, in addition to early detection. Those are some criterias that we can do to help decrease the number of cancer related deaths and diagnoses in our community. Um, Thank you all so much for joining us today. This was very informative. Anne and Ernestine, I really thank you. And for those, just let me repeat, Sister to Sisters is a Christian breast cancer support group. We meet the first Monday of each month. For anyone that's on a cancer diagnosis or would like to be a sponsor, we are welcoming you to Gilda's Club and Sister to Sisters. And as I mentioned, there are a number of other groups there and workshops, because everybody don't fit naturally into a group. We have different kind of workshops, yoga, cooking, and the conversation of cancer often comes up, but it's in a different environment so people are more comfortable. And we're going to wrap this up. I want to thank you all so much for sharing your wisdom and your passion with us in the community. And it is good for you to participate with us. Thanks everyone for joining us on Facebook Live. And we hope that you gained something from this little symposium. If you would like to share with us what you're doing to stay healthy, please either leave it in the section comment, email, or call us. We're at Gilda's Club, www.gildasclubgr.org. Thank you so much. Thank you, Ann and Ernestine.
Thank you so much for having us. Thank you much.
Thank you.